So my name is Nadine Levitt, as Dave said, and as he said, 5 days ago I was sitting across from him and he said, "What's your elevator pitch?" So here I am now, and ironically my elevator pitch is probably the weakest link of the entire company, in the sense that every elevator pitch we've ever come up with is not actually, it's not good enough, but in the sense that it doesn't really give you a real vision for what Wurrly is. And I was hoping I could get some help from you guys sometime tonight on what the elevator pitch should be. So background is really, I was a singer. I call myself a recovering lawyer turned singer. But I was touring around with David Foster for a while. I'm actually an opera singer. And doing some crossover stuff, and I ended up getting the chance to open for Steven Tyler for a show, and that was great. And they said, "Can you do something a little different? Can you, for your opening song, do Bon Jovi's Crazy?" And I looked at them and was like, "Okay, I can do this, yeah, no problem." And so I went online to try and find a backing track that I could just push up 4 or 5 steps, because obviously, I'm a soprano, so that is a very different, Steven Tyler's got a high voice, but still, I needed a higher key. And I was shocked to find that there was nothing available that let me take a backing track, even just a cheesy sort of karaoke backing track, and push it up 4 or 5 steps to where I needed it to be. And so I ended up having to hire my pianist, and I said, wouldn't it be nice if there was like an app that let me take a backing track and maybe I could customize it and record myself, and then if I liked it, maybe I could share it. And that was sort of where where Wurrly was born. About 3 months or so later, we were in full development, but I quickly realized that this sort of niche toolkit for singers that I was thinking that I was building was really a much bigger product, in the sense that this really was more about self-expression through music. So whether it's, self-expression through video was captured by YouTube, self-expression through photos was captured by Instagram, but true self-expression through music's never really been done. And here was a product that was just as much for my 2-year-old to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and for me to send that to grandma, or for a friend who doesn't really sing, who wants to sing somebody a happy birthday, or for the 12-year-old girl who wants to be the next Rihanna. And so it's an interesting change. So that was the first flip, but that was about 2 weeks into development. So thankfully, Anthony Bourquet's actually was his company that was the original company I worked with, the original engineers, to create the prototype. I don't know if you know who he is, but he is remarkably patient and fantastic to work with. Since I actually had never done technology, and I'd never run a technology company. I'd had small companies before, but not sort of anything like this. And along the way, one of the things that I sort of wanted to highlight for you guys was you build it how you think, with the core foundations, and it's so important to have a plan, because I think, because I had a business plan, it sort of made me think about the self-expression in the first place, because I really focused on, well, who is my consumer, and why do I care, and why will anyone else care? And I think that's sort of the key foundation of any great company, is like the why, and I think there's great TED Talks about it if you want to look it up, but it's what Apple does so well. I think they say, why do we care so much to create these products? Along the way, Wurrly has definitely grown. So we launched in June of last year, and pretty organically have grown to 350,000 users, which has been great. And we are in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, and Chile, of all places. And we've been lucky enough to have competitions with Entourage, the movie. We just launched, confirmed today that we're doing a Tori Kelly competition. Ellie Goulding's on. So we've got a lot of great things happening now. Along the way, other things have come of Wurrly, including, for example, we now work with lots of different music therapy programs. So we work with Camo, which is a veterans music therapy program. Because our app is free and it's so easy to use, it's very attractive, and the customization that we offer is very different to any other sort of karaoke style app. We also have started working with schools, which is a really interesting segue. But a big aim of mine is to be in every public school in America. And so we've built a different app specifically for that. We also have a partnership with Wurrly, and that is launching in April. Look out for it. It's called Super Dope. And it's the same concept as Wurrly, which I'm going to run you through in a minute, except that it's original material. So as I run you through the app, I'm going to call on some of you. So how many singers do I have? I have Katie here, who's very kindly going to sing for us tonight. And how many singers are there in the room? One? Yeah, do you want, there you go. I'm not singing. You're not singing, but yeah, you're a singer. What about karaoke? Who here does karaoke? Once in a while. Come on, if you've had like a couple of drinks. Underage drinks, whatever. So this is really, really interesting to me as the founder, because all children sing, right? All children sing, whether it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Row 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 Your Boat or Katy Perry's songs that they probably shouldn't be singing. But somewhere at about 8 years old, for whatever reason, people become more self-conscious, a little awkward. Maybe people have said something like, your voice sucks, or yeah, you don't have to sing, I don't want to hear you, or whatever, please don't. And it starts to etch away at someone's confidence to sing. And it's very, very interesting, because obviously there's huge health benefits to singing, which have been in so many reports, whether it's, we work with an Alzheimer's program, and they found that there was a 25% less degeneration of the brain when you sing. There's more immunoglobulin A in your blood when you sing. There's your lung capacity is greater when you sing. In schools and so forth, the sense of community that's there, there's lower suicide rates, the SAT scores go higher, you oxidize your body more. So there's clearly a lot of physiological benefits to singing. But this whole concept that you're being judged for it or so forth, that's a part of the product that we've just totally removed. So that you can do it, you can sing in your closet, you can sing in your car, no one ever has to know that you're on this ever. If you want to share it, you certainly can, but it's very interesting to me to see some of these stories come out of users who were starting very privately, just in their own four walls. There was a woman, one of our users, who has 3 children with autism. And she said she always used the music for her children to connect with them. And the middle child was the only one that never really worked for until Wurrly. And she created a Wurrly and she showed it to her middle child, and he listened to it 27 times, curled up on a couch and said, "Mama, that's so beautiful." And she just had tears streaming down her eyes, down her face, and said that's the first time in 11 years that she truly connected with her 11-year-old child. So when I hear those stories, these are not things that I obviously had thought about when I first created this. This was a very, I'm going to say, much more selfish, I just want this for me product. But along the way, those are the things that get me up in the morning. And it definitely forms the way that you continue to develop the product. For instance, the fact that it has to be free in order for these people to be able to use it. Let me just run you through the app a little bit so you can see it. So this is your home page. We have a very similar map to Instagram in the sense the bottom bar is there, notifications, profile, so forth. This is the gist. We have 2 types of users. We have singers. 15% of our users are actually singers, creators, and 85% of our users are listeners. So we have something for both. But if you're a singer, this is the gist of what you're looking at. So you can browse by genres up here. And you can, for instance, pick something. Let's go. Did you want to sing something? Should we do you? Yeah? Okay, we'll do Amy Winehouse. We'll search for Amy. This is Katie. Thank you. So here's the gist of what we do. So do I have audio now for this? Yeah. Okay. So you can pick whether you want a piano version of that song, or whether you want full band, or whether you want guitar. This is not the greatest intro for this. And then in real time, you can say, do you want a different key? Here's the dilemma that solves, right? So if I'm a girl trying to sing a guy's song, it's always in the wrong key. If I'm a guy singing a girl's song, it's always in the wrong key. So this lets you in real time just try it out, right? So we'll do it again. So would you like full band or guitar? What would you like?
Full band.
Full band, okay.
Yes.
Another thing that I will say is the reason that we put the acoustic guitar and the acoustic piano there was really so that we encourage people to make it totally different. And like if you're a songwriter, if you want to make it completely your own and not have any Amy Winehouse in it, you can. And unlike all the other karaoke apps where they want you to sound like the original artist, we actually want you to sound like you. Okay, so full band, and then key-wise, is this a good key or?
Original.
Okay. And then we can go slower. We can go faster.
I think original.
Okay, good. All right, good. And then we have a video.
Oh wow.
All right.
So I just sing to this?
Yeah, you can sing.
Okay.
It's better if you use a headset because then you're just recording your vocal rather than your vocal and the track, obviously.
So I'm singing to this camera.
Singing straight to the camera.
Right.
Or does that mean the music only goes through the
I think it'll only go through the. Well, we can try. Just sing loud and you'll be fine.
Okay.
And do a shout out to everyone else.
Woo, what's up?
It's going to give you a countdown. And then you can.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Very good. Cool. We'll just take that. That's awesome. Thank you. All right. Awesome. Really awesome. So then you review and edit. And here's where it's pretty. So we have different audio filters here.
Oh, wow.
So we can. Hang on. Let's do the video one
Shout out
first.
to everyone else.
Hang on. Let's do video first because it's the most visual. So we can make it black and white. We can make it vintage sort of color.
Give you a countdown.
We can make it like that or like that. And then with the audio filters, so hang on, which video filter do you like the most? There's this, or none.
I like black and white.
Okay, cool. So so then let's go to audio. Let's go back to the beginning.
Is there a shout out to everyone else? I'm gonna give you a countdown.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So there's different things that you can do. So you can pick which filter you want, and then from there you can, when you're finished, you can say done. It'll make your Wurrly. It also makes it in the background just for everyone's knowledge because it can take a while. At that point, you put your comment, your message to whoever, and you can make it private. You can make it for your followers only or public, and then from there you send it by email, text, or Facebook and Twitter. And as I said, it's completely free. So we don't have to do this one. I won't post it on my. What's interesting is, you know, we have lots of different. Thank you so much. It's amazing. Yeah. So it works just as well with classical. So I was recently. I'll give you an example since that's my world. We did. I wouldn't just do it to you, so you're the only one. Don't worry, I'll do it too. All right. So you all know O mio bambino caro. We all know this, right? Have you ever heard it with a guitar? Right. Okay. And I'm like, so this just gives it a slightly different vibe. Let's turn it down just a tiny bit. Okay. So I'm gonna try this one. I should have picked actually a tenor, but. Okay, I'm good. All right, give a shout out to everybody. Hi, everybody. Shout out to USC. Oh, mio bambino caro, mi piace Thank you. Thank you. I haven't sung in a long time, so there you go. But anyway.
That was incredible. Yes.
Thank you. Thank
now
you.
I know why you were with it.
So again, here, what's interesting is I can scrub to where I need it to be. I can just change it to however I need it to be. And then if I like that, I'm like, okay, so it's exactly the same as what you just did before. You just decide what you want, share it, so forth. What's really fun is when you get a totally new lease on a new song. Like we've had people doing versions of songs that sound so new and so different. And we've had a lot of people on the app that we're not really supposed to encourage the songwriting component of it because the publishers don't really love it. But I will tell you, if you keep it private, it's a good thing. So you can write new songs to it too. Soon we're going to have a freestyle genre as well that we can allow people to do spoken word to, or any type of creative endeavor. The music rights component of it has been a complete. That's been probably the biggest minefield that we've had to cross, because you basically have to get all of the publishers to agree on the same terms. So we got all the majors first, and then we got Disney. And I knew it was going to take at least a year to get it done, and so I basically approached them without a product, with just a concept. And of course, the concept changed a little bit here and there. But we finally, when we got all the majors, everything became much easier. I wanted to show you something that happened. So we had somebody sent me this particular Wurrly, and I just closed a publishing deal, so I realized that this might actually. Okay, can we just turn this off so they can't see it? So, because it'll give it away if you see the comments. I want you guys to tell me. So I came across this, and I realized it was somebody pretty. Hey, stop! Don't cheat. It was somebody, a Grammy Award-winning singer, who was very organically just on the app. Can you turn it up again? Yeah, turn it up.
Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots.
Does anyone recognize his voice?
Your black tie affair. The last one to know.
Who?
The last one to show.
Nick Young? No.
I was the last
Does anyone know?
one you thought you'd see
Who?
there.
Yeah, it is. It was Nate Roos.
Saw the surprise
Nate Roos from Fun.
and the fear in his eyes.
So when I found them on the app, I called him up and I said, I literally called him. He was like, "Who are you?" I'm sorry, what? I said, "We'd really like you to be an ambassador for us." And so he said, "Look, I'm going on tour, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "But when I come back, I would love that." And, you know, he was a man of his word. And 3 weeks ago, he called me and he said, "You know, I'm back and I really want to do this." And so we just signed on, our first sort of big celebrity ambassador. Which is very exciting, and others that are sort of just coming through the works. We found all sorts of people, including, Garth Brooks has been on it. We've had, and that's the sort of the most fun part of it for me, the most glamorous sort of, oh my God, you get these people playing with it. Adele played with it because her husband is on our advisory board. And so when we have it's about pushing the right relationships at the right time. And I think a lot of the trick to being a good entrepreneur, in my opinion, is knowing when to stick to your guns and when to really stay on, focused, because you have to say no to so much. If you took up every good idea, you're just never going to get anywhere. So I have what's called the good idea box, that anyone who says to me, "You should do this and this," I'm like, "Yep, good idea, going in the box for later." It's not happening right now. Because if you follow every one of them, you're not going to know, you're going to get a really confused product. But occasionally things will happen that will make you want to veer off, and I think knowing when to take that action and just following your gut on some of that stuff is sort of super important for us. Following my gut when it came to the self-expression, that was kind of a no-brainer. But there's been other things, for instance, the education angle or the super dope angle, which is the Will.i.am product, that were less no-brainers, in the sense that there was risk attached to doing them and veering off course a little bit. But I think that's something that you can only make. That's a decision you can only make. So how much more time do I have here?
Yeah, like 5 to 10 minutes if you want to take some questions.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
So one of my friends up in Seattle got contracted to do 20 of your guys' piano tracks.
Oh, cool.
So I became very familiar with it because you've recorded on a bunch of those.
Fantastic.
Including American Beautiful. So if you pull that up, that's Dylan. in
You want
Seattle.
to sing it?
No. I'm a trumpet player. I can't sing. My question to you is this. So I'm still a little bit confused about how you monetized it, and I actually was still curious about that. Does the user have to pay to download some of the backing tracks, and are some of them free? Because I remember when I tried just playing around with the app in Seattle, the tracks I saw, this is when it was first going up, were all available.
They are all available, and they'll continue to be all available for free. So the monetization of the app has been slowly trickling in. So we are approaching a hybrid model. So it's going to be ad supported. We've already got ads in some of it, but it's going to be ads on every page except for your profile, because that's your space. Just banner ads. They don't get in the way. It's not as annoying as YouTube. Yeah. And then we've got, if you want to keep a song forever, for instance, if my 2-year-old sings something that I really want to keep, I would download it and for $1.29 and keep it forever like a normal song. If I and then there's also the subscription model, which is just added tools. So it's being able to layer your vocals, having online, offline playlists, having auto-tune, having dynamic mix filters so that they actually mean something to your voice. Because what we can do is we can capture the high end and low end of your voice and actually suggest songs to you and suggest keys for you so that we can tell where you'll sit the best and actually make you hopefully a better singer. There's an education element to that too, where we have tips by famous vocal coaches or stage coaches and movement coaches and so forth to help you with your performance. And the other thing that we're adding is chords for the lyrics, so that if you're actually an instrumentalist and not a singer, then you can do that too. But that all comes under the subscription model. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
First of all, thanks, because ultimately I think that we've always had problems when it comes to finding music, especially even if you want to go do a talent show, or if somebody's like, do something really quick, it's definitely not easy. And then all the addition, like the filters and things like that are really awesome as well. But I'm noticing that it's only iPhone.
No, Android's coming out in 3 days.
Oh, okay. So soon we'll be able to use it, and it'll be across both channels.
Yes, it depends on what Android you have, though, as to how good it is. We've had real issues with Android because obviously it's device specific. So we as of about 6 months ago, already had Samsung. So Samsung was done. The last 3 models of Samsung, we were able to produce really good quality. HTC was fine. But a lot of the other phones we had real issues with, particularly Sony. So,
Thank you.
What do you have?
LG.
Okay. No, LG. Depending on if it's the last one or if it's is it like one of the last couple models? If so, then it should work fine. Yeah. And we're having a tab. Actually, our web stuff, our website's coming out too. So we've just launched our management portal, so you can on the web sort of manage your profile, and you're about to be able to create on the web too.
Awesome. Thanks, Nadine. Thank you so much for being here. I know my sister in particular, I cannot wait. I just texted. Okay, that's right. That's totally fine. I just texted her, actually. I just couldn't wait during your presentation because she is your ideal user. She's still in elementary school, sings all the time, and she records herself and sends it to family, and it's so great. So I'm very excited to show that to her. But my question for you is, how important has a mantra of simplicity been throughout this entire experience? Because you're working with audio files, you're also working on getting music licensing rights, and with any application, if you make it too complicated, especially going after kids, it can just completely, you won't get traction. So if you could talk a little about that.
It's a really, really, really big part of how we've built it, and I really have. I have great test users too, including my mom, she's not very tech savvy at all. So if she can do it, anyone can do it. But we've tried to sort of really, even though it's very complex on the back end, it has to be the UI has to be really, really simple to use. The Android actually is a little bit different to the iOS because their users, they have different behaviors. The way that they don't have the bottom bar that we're so used to seeing all the time. So theirs is actually a drawer that comes out, which is more specific to Android. But we've tried to really be very intuitive with how our users, depending on where they're coming from and how they behave, and then trying to use similar maps to other apps that they're probably also using. So they're really, they're well versed, and it'll seem familiar. So
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question.
Thank you for coming.
Hi. Thank you.
Hi. My question for you is, have you ever thought about bringing this to home entertainment system? Because
Yes.
so the reason I ask is because in Asian culture, well, in mine in particular, in Vietnamese, we love to sing karaoke with family, not necessarily to share it, but like an issue we've been having is that, you know, there's like no company that supports that, or at least that I know, these popular songs, right? And so we want to sing, like, for example, John Mayer or stuff like that. We can't do that.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting you say that. Yes, we're already in discussions with some people, but already you can use AirPlay. So I could have done this whole thing on AirPlay if you guys had an Apple TV. But it's so that's already possible. But we are now looking at a hardware partner that we can integrate into. We are also going to be integrated into Sonos. I should mention actually. Can you turn this on again? Thanks. So you may have noticed that here we've got favorites, the stars. Do you see that? So and we've also got the related Wurrly. So these are all the people who have done this song. And then because we've got so many listeners, we've also got playlists. So when I like a song, I can add it to my playlist down here, or you can create a playlist, and you can listen to it just in your own time, and in the background you can be doing other things, and it's sort of a nice way to. I know I'm wrapping up. Okay. So we're sort of catering to them too, but it's the hardware is definitely something that we're pursuing. But I'd rather partner up with someone, like, for instance, in each territory, like, because I don't have all the Vietnamese songs. For instance, I have Anglo-American songs, some German songs, just for me. Everyone knows 99 Luftballons. Come on. But in each territory, you know, I'd look to sort of have a real partnership. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, right here. So my question is kind of, like, you introduced it as kind of like Instagram, and there's a lot of debate about whether Instagram is authentic and how much photo editing people should do. Since this is kind of a game changer for people trying to share music, do you see issues with authenticity, like being an artist yourself, with all of these like tech changes, specifically to different songs?
No, I think it's more authentic. Actually, I think that the whole point is that we want you to sound like you, and a song is supposed to be like a poem, and you're really, it's connecting people through song. I think there are certain songs, and it doesn't matter when it comes on, it'll take you straight back to that, you know, the place where you first heard it, or where you had some kind of, it has memories attached to it, and it means different things to different people. So a song by Lenny Kravitz, I'll Always Stand By My Woman, for me always takes me back to being this 14-year-old girl lying on a trampoline, heartbroken about some guy. It just does. To somebody else, it might be something completely different. So my performance of it, another example would be, I did a version of Counting Stars, completely different to the original, but it meant something to me. Or I turned You Are So Beautiful by Joe Cocker into basically a ballad that a mom would sing to her daughter. And so those are sort of the changes, but it's very authentic because it's what it means to me. And at the end of the day, we're giving the user the tools to create it themselves and make them sound as good as possible. But it's not like the auto-tune will definitely, you know, be a less authentic or whatever sound, but then every pop singer that you hear on the radio basically has auto-tune. So.
Next. Do you for the publishing rights, we have a sort of a comparable app, not as versatile for movies, being able to personalize a movie clip, and we paid a minimum guarantee. Are you paying a per usage fee or a minimum guarantee to acquire the rights?
We had an advance that we paid the publishers, and then so we have different deals in place. So we have blanket deals in place with all the majors in Disney, and then we have catalog deals in place for some of the bigger independents, and then we have single song deals in place for certain smaller publishers where we just want, that one song. But of course, each song can be split up to like 16 different publishers. You get a Bruno Mars song, and there's literally 16 different people attached to that. So sometimes you're going out for like 2% of something, and so they get 2% of that advance. From a reporting perspective, that becomes a nightmare. I will say we actually outsourced the reporting because I think there was something like, we have 4,600 songs in the app right now, but probably closer to, I think, 50,000 data points that we have to report on for the publishers.
And then what is, two final questions. What is your customer acquisition cost to get registered users right now? What are you burning? And then how can we help, particularly this audience of potential users?
Thank you. I like that question. So I think per user, we've been testing, and it depends per platform, obviously. It's currently at about $3 per user if we go out on average on iOS, and about $1 if we, it should be about $1 on Android. We haven't tested with that much because as soon as you start to really spend real money on acquisition, it's obviously it's a little bit like a funnel effect, and it's gonna be more expensive. And my theory on all of this is I really don't want to have to buy every user. And so we're very focused on building out a really good ambassador program because ambassadors, like the whole point of this is to share your music and to get it out there and to work with partners and projects that that people will genuinely be interested in, and offering opportunities to these singers that take them from online to offline and are true opportunities rather than just us sort of treating them as users. So we invite, for example, we invite our ambassador to come into our Hollywood recording studio. We distribute that music. We often bring other influencers or producers into that recording studio to work with those ambassadors. We help promote them. We get about 20 million uniques on our Facebook a month, and so we do have some traffic that we can drive toward new music. We are trying to be very organic in working with influencers and so forth too. We haven't started that totally yet, but we've a lot of what we've managed to achieve right now has been free of cost. So the Tory I probably shouldn't have that on the record either. But a lot of the competitions and so forth that have come to us are just because they like the product and they want to support us.
And how can we help?
How can you help?
What are some real challenges you're facing?
How much time do I have? 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay, 3 minutes.
And there'll be Q&A at the end as well.
Okay, so how can you help? Well, I think other than obviously telling every person you know how great this app is and getting them to download it, shouting it from the rooftops, that's how you can help. And the other ways that you can help are, I would love to hear from you if you think that there's any sort of interesting acquisition strategies that you think I should be looking into. I'd love to hear about that. Yeah?
I think you should have an option where, I know you don't like taking new ideas, but I think to expand product, if you could take a video and then send it to someone as a text message, and then say when someone doesn't have Snapchat, download Snapchat so you can get my picture. It's kind of like you can send videos and then people would see that and see the video on their text message and be like, oh, that's really cool. And then I think that's a great way to expand too.
Yeah, we do allow text message sharing, but we don't, because we're also web. You basically get it as a widget, so you don't have to download the app. In order to follow, you would have to download. So I think it's actually a really good tip to maybe have that be even more sort of download the app and make it even more prominent. At the moment, we don't really do that. It's a good idea. Thank you.
I think also you talk a lot about the mantra of we want you to sound like you.
Mm-hmm.
You can emphasize that sound like you to be sound like your inner rock star, sound like your inner pop star, and really try to build up the confidence of your user base. And a lot of people already have it, but as you're saying, you reach age 8 and that starts to fade. If you could really be like, because you have this music and you can layer all these effects, you're gonna sound amazing now. I think like, I mean, and there's something to be said with that too about, I mean, you sound great anyways, but there's a big part, I think, to making it seem like, all right, you're a pop star.
Yeah. Yeah. Good call. Yeah.
Last question.
Question along the lines of, growing things. How's your competition? Because I know that there's like apps out there. I've been told there's apps out there like
Shmuel.
Yeah.
Shmuel.
So
Yeah.
how's the competition with apps like that?
Well, again, I mean, I think it's a slightly different product in the sense that they are just karaoke. I love what they've built at Shmuel. I think they've done a really good job. I think they've got a really great looking product and so forth, and they've done some really smart things. And they make $40 million a year in revenue. So they do all right. We're brand new babies on the block, but we are different in the sense that we allow the customization and so forth. We have slightly different repertoire, so you can get different songs through us. We have a much stronger classical genre than they ever do, and a really strong Spanish genre. We are also free, which Shmuel is $7.99 a month, so that's a big difference. Even our subscription model, when we bring it in, will be not even half the price of their subscription model. And we allow downloads. We're the only people who allow downloads. We're the only people who allow customization. We're the only people who have acoustic tracks. So that's probably the biggest difference.
Very cool product, though. Who's going to use it? I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. Very cool.
Yay, thank you.
Well, are you going to stick around for a little?
Yes, of course.
Okay, stick around to ask questions. Let's hear from you.
Thank you, guys.